At this stage, the only undefeated coach in all of the South Australian Amateur Football League A grade. He is the great man, Wayne Wyld. Welcome back to the show.
TJ, how are you?
It is great
Wayne,
to have you.
how do you follow that? Seriously, that is not a good look.
How do you work with that?
You love it, Tommy.
Tough gig. Alright, I've been doing this new thing lately. I've come up with, Wayne, where I read out the results with a coach in here and you pass comment on them, having seen all of these teams so many times. Give us a bit of an overview about what you thought about how each game went last week. Russell and I will also put in our intricate knowledge. First one, we're all over this, aren't we, Russell? T3 Gully, 24 goals, 23, 167. Flinders Uni, 2 goals, 5, 17. Bit of an upset with Chambers kicking 10, but I'd expect T3 Gully to play the Great Mitchell Park in the grand final. So business as usual there.
Yeah, I think so. There was a little bit in that game up there, they tell me. So
bit of spite?
Yeah, there was a little bit. I think a bit of feedback from the Uni boys. But T3 Gully are a really quality team, so you'd expect them to keep going with it.
Next one was Smithfield, 16-16, 112, defeating Sacred Heart, 14-8, 92. Smithfield getting just their third one of the year? What was their third one of the year? Tell us a bit about your thoughts on that one.
Oh, it didn't surprise me at all. Very hard side, Smithfield. They've done a lot of work out there. Talking to Benny Showman last week from North Pines, he said that he thought they were one of the hardest teams they've had to beat in recent weeks, and we did too. I mean, we struggled to beat them out there, so they're coming good. I like the way they play. They've done a lot of work out there at Smithfield. Good on them.
And their coach, Andy Stewart, I liken him a lot to yourself, sir, in a way that he's an older statesman of the game, but he's not just teaching them football, he teaches them a bit of life lessons as well. I went out there for the grassroots and I found him to be a real father figure out there and a good mentor for the young fellas. And because there's some loose cats out there, but yeah, he's doing good things.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I'll get on the right with Andy too. He's a good bloke.
Yeah. Henley, 14-8, 92. Angle Vale, 12-15, 87. Bit of a thriller.
Yeah, goal kicked after the siren, eh?
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Henley actually thought they were in front. I think Engelvale thought they were in front, and then Mears, I think it was, it took a mark on the just after the just on the siren and kicked a goal after the siren to get up. So interesting result that one. Not sure what to read into it. Anglevale are pretty hard to beat out there. So
it was at Anglevale.
Yeah. So well, I think they played it at North Pines Oval. So
okay.
Yeah, I would have thought that was probably a good result for Henley, I think.
How good is this, Russell? We can actually find out what happened within the game, you know, because we obviously wouldn't have known that. We do a bit of reading about it.
Nicky Myers was pretty happy with himself for that too.
I think so,
yeah.
Yes.
Where was he, on a boundary or...?
I think it was like the 30 metres right in front.
Yeah.
He'll tell you it's in the boundary though.
But that's even harder sometimes when you're right in front because...
Starts Tommy Hawkins.
Yeah.
Was it Henley that actually thought they were in front before that? Is that how
I didn't hear that.
I think they thought they were in front. And then as it turned out, the scoreboard was wrong. So
okay.
Yeah, so he kicked the goal and then they found out afterwards that was the one that won it. So.
Next one was Flinders Park 13-13, 91, Modbury 7-4, 46.
Modbury playing a lot of kids and got a lot of different players going through. So Flinders Park, they've had some injuries. I would have picked that result. I would have thought that's about the difference between those two teams right at the minute.
And as we continue the Luke and Nat debate, with Nat kicking 10 and Luke kicking 7, Mitchell Park 25 goals, 12-1, 62, Thump North Pines 11-10, 76. Great result.
Yes, but don't read the scoreline too much into it, I think. North Pines had some player issues at the end of the reserves game. They had 17 players to start with. They had to take 4 out their reserves because 4 of the boys didn't turn up. So I think that's not really the right way to go into the game, and they're on the back foot right from the start. So yeah. They had to go to Henley and they've had to come to Mitchell Park 2 weeks in a row. Big travels for them, so I wouldn't read too much into that result.
I tried to ask Mark Schupan who he thought might be like a medal favourite in this grade because your team's undefeated, so it could possibly come from your team. And because I asked about Podzinski because I heard he's been playing really well, and Shuey just shrugged him off and said, "No, I've got it in the bag." So I said to him he's got to leave the cricket pitch first before he gets a vote, but he reckons he's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, he would. He'd talk himself up well like that.
Well, I've heard when I was down your way, a young fella who I've talked a little bit in recent weeks on, was it Maisie on the wing, lightning quick, former South Adelaide reserve. He's been doing fantastic things. Might be a real vote catcher.
I would have suggested up until about 4 weeks ago he'd have been up in the top 2.
Yep.
But he's got a break in his hand, so he hasn't played for the last 3 and he'll miss the next 2. So
Yeah, that's
that'll
gonna
cost him dearly, I think. Yeah.
So let's just, well, since we're talking about the medal, because it's always interesting to talk about players from other clubs who you really rate. I mean, there's quite a few stars at Tea Tree Gully. Who would you have in the medal calculations at this stage?
Oh, I think Dean Mount would be a walk-up start, to be honest with you. Runner-up last year to O'Gorman, a real vote catcher, and he's had a lot better year this year. His body's good, he's got a better team that he's playing in, so he gets a bit of rotation. I think I think he's the best player in the league personally. I rate him highly.
Let's back my vote up. Now, I think I picked him a few weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think I went with Maisie.
Yeah.
Based on a bit of inside knowledge.
Yeah, I think had Maisie kept playing, if he'd played the last three, he'd have probably 4 best on rounds right at the minute, I'd suggest.
Will he be back for finals?
Yeah, he'll be back against Flinders Uni in the last game.
Okay.
Tea Tree Gully 11-4, Henley 11-4. Obviously, they're with yourself. They're the 3 standout teams. For me, just reading it and having spoken to people, it seems that Tea Tree Gully have got more stars. Are Henley the more even playing group though?
Well, it's difficult because we've seen them once, so I guess I'll have a bit more of an indication after today's game. But I didn't think they played that well when they come to play us in the first round at home, and Luke and Nat didn't play in that game, and we beat them by 11 goals. So.
Yep.
I think they're probably a bit stronger now. They have got a few extra players that come in that they didn't have on that day, so it's hard for me to gauge them until I watch today. Once I've seen them today, I'll have a better guide as to where they're at, I think.
I was actually at that game, and you're right, they played pretty average that day, but they did have a lot of players out. I know, especially in the D grade, so they'll have a few pushing up in the Cs as well. So hopefully today's a bit more of a closer game, but you do have the Twin Towers back this week playing against them, so I'll probably head out there this afternoon, have a bit of a look. I think it'll be a good game.
I'm really mindful of Henley. They're just such a professional club and they know what to do. And I think they've been pacing themselves really well, getting ready. They haven't exposed themselves terribly much at this point, so it'd be good to have a look today.
How do you get along with the opposition coaches? Are there any that you really rate as a worthy opponent? Is there any that perhaps get under your skin?
No, not really. I did get on really good with all of them. Pete Martin's really good at Tea Tree Gully. We've got a good relationship. Benny Showman and I have a really good relationship from North Pines. Most of them have all been pretty good. We have a beer after the game, had a bit of a chat and that sort of stuff. So there's no one that really gets under my skin. I mean, PC's a bit different, so we might have a bit of fun today, I think.
You'd like to beat him today, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And everyone wants to beat Henley. I mean, you want to beat the Div 1 standout. I mean, I
absolutely.
Div 7, but you want to see Henley suffer a little bit of pain. You can't win everything, can you?
No, that's it. No. They can win the A grade, that's fine.
When you played Flinders Park, I heard it was a bit of a fiery match. Can you go into that a bit for us? I heard a few of their players sort of targeted a few of your players and stuff. Is that true, or am I hearing?
Not to the point where it was out of control. I mean, yeah, they come at us physically, which was fine, but unfortunately, my boys love that stuff. So just keep bringing it on because it brings the best out in them. But there was one incident, but I'd rather not comment on that incident. One incident that was really ugly, and that lad hasn't played since that game. So.
From your team?
Yeah.
I know that's probably the other team in this grade that's one of the top 4-5 sort of teams, a bit of a standout. They've got some good players in Wheats and Sujai Cook and that, but
I don't think they'll make the 5. I think North Pines are a week. If North Pines beat them today, they'll have 2 games in percentage and they'll make the 5 for sure, because they've got, I think, a Modbury and Smithfield or something to come, I think. So I'll be staggered if North Pines don't make the 5.
And North Pines are another team that play their home deck pretty well, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they all turn up at home, they've got a full complement to pick from. They'll be really ready for that game today, absolutely.
Played them a few years back in round 18 when we were in C1. I don't think they'd won a game that year, and they put a keg on, and they had 50 turn up. We only had one team back then. They had a fairly strong team that day. They got over the line by 20 goals. Put a keg on for your C grade. That'll do the job, won't it? All right, now I'm going to try this again, Russell, so just 1 second, please. It worked. Of course, you're listening to 100.5 FM. This is the Good Man set up 10:27 AM on Saturday game day. We're here with the coach of Mitchell Park Football Club, the only undefeated football club in Amateur Football League, Wayne Wyld, and he is now going to give his expert analysis on what's going to happen this week in the games in Division 7. We're going to start, Russell, with your book's not open. Tea Tree Gully and Smithfield at Tea Tree Gully. Wayne, over to you.
Tea Tree Gully. Yeah, Tea Tree Gully at home. Smithfield will give them a bit of a run for a while, I think, but quality will win.
Yeah, I think Teacher Gully with Chambers, Van Soest, Mount, a few of those stars in playing, so I think Teacher Gully will win rather easy today.
Yeah. I mean, and even that's without mentioning a man who's won several medals, the great man from Uncle Peter, an evergreen. He's still playing the midfield?
Yeah, he rotates forward.
Yep.
Yeah, look at Damien Rout in there too. He goes all right. They picked up Scotty Fraser, who played at Athelston. They picked up some good people in the last.
Yeah.
And Chad Quinn, I think he played up in the Hills. I know a bit about some of those lads, and they've added some quality in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, no, they are a strong team. And Chambo, I mean, he played league for Centrals, did he?
Yeah, and Westies, I think, as well. I reckon.
Kicked 150 goals for Coolite Girls a few years ago.
Yeah. So he knows how to find the ball. And he's got those pear-shaped hips. He's very hard to knock off his line. So.
When you got blokes like Glenn Mount dishing out to the runners and hitting him up, I think he should kick another 10 today, pretty close.
David Green kick 100 in that team. All right, next one's Sacred Heart and Angle Vale. We've got Sacred Heart.
I reckon that's going to be a good game. Sacred Heart, I had a bit of a stat on them last night, and they've got a really strong team in today. They're really good at home too, and Anglevale struggle. I mean, you know, Anglevale are 4th, they should win the game, you know, and you tip them to win. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit of an upset there, because the Sacred Heart go right on their own deck, and they play a good brand of footy too.
I'm just having a little look-see. It's actually at the middle school as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many people from Anglevale will travel down to Plimpton down there. It's a long drive. So.
Oh, they're 4th, so they travel okay.
Yep.
I think Sacred Heart will win. I watched Sacred Heart against you guys in the first half of the year, and I think they've picked up quite a fair bit since then. So I think Sacred Heart will take this one today.
Well,
trying to chase a final spot.
A lot of the guys that wanted to play finals aren't going to do it in Division 1, so they might just slide on down. It's hard to say, isn't it? I'm actually going to go with Angle Vale, and we've both got Teacher Gully in the first one, won't we?
Yeah.
All right. Modbury and Flinders Uni. Modbury.
One word, Modbury.
Yeah, I don't think you need to kick a dog when it's down.
I'll tell you what, Flinders Uni will give them a bit of a run for a while though, because they have improved a fair bit, and the scoreline won't be massive, I don't believe.
Well, would you say the impact of Jason Cole Morgan has been the catalyst to their improvement? Or?
He certainly helped them on the media base and exposed them a bit. I think it's a good thing actually, and Jason's a pretty good bloke, so he does a good job, he writes them up. I mean, why wouldn't you, you know?
Yeah, they deserve it.
It's pretty hard for them. You know, you've got to front up each week, don't you? So.
Well, you'd never want a club to die, and they, you know, obviously they're being seriously challenged. I do notice that they did win a game in the B grade this year. That escaped me.
Wasn't the game that I played, Tommy.
No. Well, it says that they've won a game, unless there was some sort of points breach, or who knows. Okay, next one, North Pines and Flinders Park at North Pines.
Oh, look,
it's a big game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big game. Flinders Park win it, they're equal on points for 5th spot. North Pines win it, they're 2 games clear and will make the 5. Massive game. I think all that club will get behind Benny Showman today, and they will rally for him, and I think they'll win the game personally.
When you look at the percentage, North Pines have kicked 400 more points, so with firepower like that, they do concede a lot, but I think with their firepower, I think they'll get up today.
Yeah, I'll take the Pines, and what has got to be the game of the round. It's a 1 versus 3 contest. 15-0 Mitchell Park are heading out to Henley, who are 11-4. It's a big game. I'm going to tip Mitchell Park. I actually think you're going to get to the 18-0. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts about the game today.
Well, I think it'll be a cracker. Yep. You know, so we'll know by 5 o'clock tonight whether we're still there or whether we've dropped one. So, you know, we'll leave it there and see what happens.
Any temptation? I did speak. Who are you tipping?
Tough one, but I'm going to go with Mitchell Park. I think I've seen them a few times this year, and they're pretty solid around the ground. So they don't rely on the 2 tall guys up forward, the brothers, but they've got a couple more in that can kick goals as well. So. Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I had a long chat, every day with Luke Hosey. One of the chats we had this week was about the thing with 3 weeks to go, with teams that can't actually change positions, and your team is a great example of that. You're finishing top no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try. Is there a temptation to freshen people up, give them a rest?
We already are.
Okay, there you go. Luke Hosey, that doesn't miss a beat.
Anyone that's got a niggle, yeah. Yep. I mean, look, the wonderful thing that we've got is we've had this really in position now for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've had some injuries and we have let the guys out. We've got a really good core group of kids in the reserves, So we fed them up and we're giving them a crack at the big time, and they're still holding their positions all right, okay, they're still winning games of footy, but it's building our list and making our list a lot deeper going into September, and we really had trouble with that last year. We had a very short list and we went out in straight sets. So yeah, I mean, we're giving them a bit of a break here and there. So
I was actually taken back by the professionalism of your club when I was out there, and the amount of people there on a Tuesday night and so forth for grassroots. One concern for me, and I'm sure you've already looked at it, is the round 20 game is, of course, it's Flinders Uni at home, then the week off. With no offence to Flinders Uni, it'd be fair to say it's going to be 3 weeks between tough games.
Absolutely.
Is that a worry for you?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
I think so. One thing we do know is Flinders Park are very physical, so they'll give us a very physical contest next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be one good thing about that. Flinders Uni, well, yeah, and then a bye, and then the first final. I'm not that concerned.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, it is. I think it's a bit soft going in. Personally, I'd like to go in with a couple of hard ones under our belt, but you know, so what? We lose the first one and we get another opportunity. So, no, we don't think that far ahead. I mean, we just. I think I've said it before, and it's all footy stuff. You know, we're just 1 week at a time. We're more about development at the minute, though. We're more about developing the kids that we've got. And we've got individual coaches for each lines and stuff, so they're talking with the kids and they're teaching them stuff and teaching them how to play, and so much focus has gone in on that really we haven't had time to think. I mean, we don't mention the U word down there. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's a stat, that's all it is.
The U word?
Undefeated. I mean, we don't talk about it, you know.
Plus, they've got the Superman, Tommy, so he's there. He'll take care of it.
He's back in this week. He'll be looking for a big game. So.
Beautiful. Hey Wayne, it's been fantastic having you on the show. Before you go, is anyone you want to give a rocket to, or anyone?
No, there is one thing I would like to say is it's not just us and Henley today, but all our committee and our people will be staying back at the Oval because the Sacred Heart Gazer game is at Mitchell Park.
Okay.
So if there's Division 1 people being the only game, if they're heading to the club, if there's anyone thinking of going to the club, or if there's anyone not sure whether they want to go, the full service will be open, the bar will be open, the can bar will be open, the canteen will be open, the barbecue will be open, so it's a full day on and everyone's staying back to make sure that works for the club, the Division 1 club. So
is that a Gazer game, or?
I think it's a home game for Sacred Heart from memory. Yeah, I mean they did one last year there too. So I mean the Oval's in beautiful nick. It's fantastic. So and it's really worthy of a Division 1 game. So
it is a good oval to watch footy at too.
Yeah, no, it's very
so
good.
if you know those people that are going to go, be rest assured that you know the club's going to host it really well and full facilities will be on. So
yep, lovely work. Well, you've said barbecue. David Green will probably be there now. Look at him, he's solid on profile.
He looks like he could need a sausage or two, doesn't he?
Oh, mate. Right, with his eyes closed. Hey, Wayne, thanks for being on the show. Wish you the best of luck today, and hopefully we'll get out there for around grand final time to see how the mighty Mitchell Park do.
No worries.
Thanks,
mate, guys.
All right.